Hey, it's James Phillips. Great to talk to you again. I want to talk today about what's called an OTPG, which is an offer to plead guilty. So sometimes in a case, there is a reason to negotiate back and forth with the government and come up with a guilty plea in a case rather than to go fully contested. So most of the videos you've seen from us so far are talking about fully contested cases where you're talking about what happens once you get up there, you testify, you give your direct examination. We go back and forth where each side presents a case and essentially looks like TV where you're fighting it out back and forth. But sometimes there's a case where you might have done something that was criminal, but it's not quite what the government says, and we're going to go back and forth in a military case and basically come up with an offer to plead guilty. There's a couple of different things you have to understand about offer to plead guilty in the military. First off, you're going to have paperwork, which is you're going to sign and you're going to present to the government, and either the OSTIC, the Office of the Special Trial Counsel, is going to make an agreement with you, or it's going to be the command that you're under, and depending on what kind of case it is, it will be one way or the other. But you're going to come to an agreement, and those agreements are going to set a range for the punishment. So for example, if you have a sex assault case that you're pleading guilty to, the range could be 18 months to 24 months, something like that, and you're guaranteed to get a bad conduct discharge. That may be something that you agree to. But the problem is in the military, there is something that you have to do for that, and it's you have to be provident. So the word providency is going to come up a lot for you as you go forward, and what you're going to have to do is go in there and you're going to have to agree that you're guilty of the offenses, that you believe you're guilty of the offenses, and you're going to have to go back and forth with the judge, and he's going to have to believe that you're guilty too. And this takes a while. So in the civilian world, there's a thing called an Alford plea where you go in and you say, basically, it's in my best interest to take this plea, find me guilty. Nothing like that in the military. In the military, you have to be fully provident of the fact that you did the offense, and you have to believe that you're actually guilty of the offense. So one of the things you'll see is a part of the offer to plead guilty, the OTPG, you're going to have also what's a stipulation of fact. So a stipulation of fact is basically an agreement between you and the government that says this is what happened. And generally it's going to be tainted more towards the government side because they write it and they're going to kind of force you to accept the facts in order to get the benefit of your deal. But you're going to come to an agreement with them, and your attorney is going to help you through that and manage kind of the expectation of what that looks like back and forth. But in the end, you're going to have to sign this stipulation of fact, which is an agreement as to what the facts are of the case, and it's going to be heavily loaded towards the government's version. Now, after you plead guilty in front of the judge and he gets to the place where he's going to find you guilty of an offense, what happens after that is that you can do a sentencing hearing. You can call witnesses to talk about your character. You can call them to talk about what happened. But what you cannot do is bring a sentencing case that goes against your guilty plea and makes you not providence. Because if that happens, call it busting providency. You're going to go back to a fully contested court-martial, and you're going to go back to going to trial with no deal and no kind of cap on what the sentencing is. But there are some keys and some really important things about sentencing, and we're going to talk about that in our next video, and we'll talk about sentencing and how to win at sentencing. So if you need to get a hold of me, 931-217-7648, text or call. You can also email me at jphillipslaw22@gmail.com, and also just go down here, click on appointment, and you can get onto my calendar just by setting up your own calendar appointment with me. Thank you. Have a great day.